Hello everyone and welcome to our health series. We have an absolute pleasure to have Jackie Fairweather with us this evening, who's going to be talking to us about fertility from the men and women's perspective. Jackie has been an acupuncturist for over 20 years, and she is an expert in reproductive health. So she's also a personal friend and an all-round rock star. So it's an absolute pleasure to welcome her this evening. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Jackie and she is going to share her wisdom. Thank you very much.
Okay, just quickly, this is what I'm not. I am not a nutritionist. I am not a scientist. Do you like the picture of Paul? I am not a Western medical doctor and I'm not a scientific researcher. And that picture of Colin is Nikki Pickering chose that, by the way. That's not from me. I don't want to take credit for that. I've told you all that because I'm going to give you information from my experience and knowledge as an acupuncturist. If I get anything wrong, if you question anything, I have no issue with you telling me. But I just wanted to make sure you knew these are the things I'm not. Okay, next. One of the greatest obstacles to successful implantation of embryos and reasons why implantation fails in many cases is an inflammatory environment. We're all talking about inflammatory environments at the moment. Every talk we ever have is about the inflammatory environment and about how omega-3 can disperse the inflammation. So omega-6 there, great, we need that. And then we need omega-3 to bring it down. But this is one of the problems we're having more and more. And actually, I've got someone today who got in touch with me because they've had an immune panel done. And they, again, are having more issues, which we can help with, but immune issues are getting more and more prominent, in my experience, in the last 6 months. Could you pass it over, please? Slide. Again, that's me. Particularly getting a cocktail with, for some reason, kale or something in it. I don't know. Anyway, I've had 30 years in the health and fitness industry. I've got a degree in sports science and business, and I've been an acupuncturist for 20 years. I kind of moved into female health and specializing in that way due to fertility issues myself. I got involved with Zita West, and I'm a founder member of her affiliated acupuncturist scheme. I am a mother of two, in spite of advice to the contrary. Firstly, due to a car accident where I was put on painkillers for an injury, and they said I would never be able to have children because of the pain and the painkillers. And then I had secondary infertility. So both times I ignored them, and then I have ended up with 2 children. But I do know the pain of secondary infertility, and it's quite raw. I have a passion for health, wellness, and fitness, and enabling people to reclaim their health, which you will hear as I start talking, because I am desperate to get people to get their power back. Okay, next slide, please. So this is how I approach working with a patient. Obviously the acupuncture, I'm not here to talk about acupuncture particularly, but I obviously can at some point, but I use that to support all areas of fertility and health, male and female. Nutrition and supplements. Unlike Colin, for the last few years, I haven't believed you can get enough from food, and I've always gone for supplements, and I've always supplemented myself. So in past years, I've been to a nutritionist, this is the supplement I'm on, and explained it and said, I think this is a good one, but I've never endorsed one in my clinic because I've never believed in one, like I do Zinzino. And I was very skeptical to begin with because lots of things have come through my clinic in the last 20 years. But I can honestly say I'm really, really impressed with these products, and I think they are going to be brilliant, especially the balance oil. I think it's going to be fantastic for fertility, and I personally think everyone should be on it. My son's acne has gone in 3 months pretty much from this, and lots of reasons why I think this is fantastic. But I believe in supplementing your diet because I don't believe we can get it from the Western world diet anymore. Exercise and movement, obviously, is very important to move the chi, to get the body moving, and also to move the nutrients around the body. You need to move. And when I say exercise and movement, it doesn't mean I want you running. It means I would like you to do gardening or housework. Just move. Just don't sit down all the time. The effects of stress is massive and a real issue. We don't rest, sleep, and relax enough. And to be honest, I'm one of those people. And body, mind, spirit has to be all three. You can't just look after one thing and not the other. You just can't. You have to look after it all. And I believe there's a place for us, I believe a place for you as patients, as clients, as partners, to fill that gap, to make sure while people are busily looking after body and mind and spirit, let's make sure their bodies are well, because unless you've got a good vessel, how the hell are you going to look after it? And our real 5 a day: oxygen, water, essential fatty acids has always been on my little list, nutrients, vitamins, minerals for life, from nutritious food. I would love us to get it from food, and I want everyone to eat the best, most varied possible diet they possibly can. But I think we need to supplement. I really do. And I think the balance test, the idea of having a test to find out where you're at and then moving forward, just genius. Why wouldn't you? You know exactly what you're working with. And movement there again, nutrients in, waste out, in and out, in and out. And move on, please. I'm sorry if I go super quick. I'm aware I've got quite a lot of slides, and I, started late. So I'm bringing on to negative emotions because everybody is going to have these who's dealing with fertility issues, not infertility. We're not going to use infertility. So you've got your guilt, I should have done this. And the reason I've got epigenetics at the bottom, I am not going to talk about epigenetics, that is not my field. But I went to a talk about epigenetics. And when I sat down, or all the audience sat down, the man in charge basically said, for you who are having babies, brilliant, I can give you loads of information. For you who's had them, really sorry, but you're going to get a bit upset. And we did, because you felt guilt, regret, anger, disappointment, grief, shame, failure, which anybody who's having fertility issues will be feeling, whatever stage of your fertility you are. This could be at the beginning before you've been to a GP, or after 3 failed cycles. You guys are going to have this massive array of people. And I want you to forget those emotions. You know, feel them, let them go, because they are only going to hold you back and they don't help you move forward. So negative emotions are going to come up when you're dealing with people, when you're talking to people, when you're listening to people, when you're selling the oil, or, you know, getting patients ask you. They are going to feel all these things. So you've got to be there for them. So if you know, you've got to hold them and be there for them. Right, next one, please. So the Western world fertility pathway. I've got a star at the beginning because that's before the GP session. Now that's your golden time. If only we could get to most women. What you find is women will come off the pill and they'll start trying for a baby, and they'll just merrily go along thinking, oh, it's going to happen, because that's what happens. Because when you're at school, you're taught how to not get pregnant, not how to get pregnant. So you automatically assume, oh my God, well, I need to be on the pill and I need to do this. So you assume it's really easy to get pregnant until it isn't. And then you merrily carry on. But nobody comes in and says, have you looked at your nutrition? Have you looked at your diet? When I say no one, there is a lot of information out there. You've got the Zeta Wests of this world. You've got nutritionalists who are fertility specialists. You do have them, but you've really got to look. But nowhere in the Western world fertility pathway that I know of, if you go in, do they say, have you looked really closely at your nutrition? Do you know what you need to balance your hormones? Have you got this? Have you got that? And for me, that's a golden time. If we could speak to some women there and save them the pain of the rest of those steps, I mean, that would be just bloody genius. So it should be a time of targeted advice. The journey seems to start for women when a problem has been identified. Now, again, that to me is an issue. So you're already starting with a bit of a limp, aren't you? Because you're going to the GP and they might do some blood tests, some scans, a semen sample, and they're going to say, yeah, you've got a problem there. Well, thanks. I've just wasted a year having sex and I could have been doing something else there to make this happen. So I think if we could get messages out before GP and just say, try this, at least for 6 months or a year, that would be perfect. So you've got to your GP, and then you've got disappointment, and you've already got negative emotions. Then it still doesn't work because you're sent away to go and have sex again. Then you go to the fertility clinic, and the fertility clinic is paperwork and more tests and more scans. And unfortunately, there's very little lifestyle advice, and there's very little nutrition advice. Unless you went to the Zeta West clinic, which I know has nutritionists on site, hypnotherapists on site, Acupuncturist on site, obviously, forgot my lot. So they're all in there. So you've got this holistic care. I know Care Fertility are starting to acknowledge it better, and acupuncturists are respected a bit better. But the lifestyle advice, you're given medication. So then, you know, you've had you might have Clomid first, you might go to IUI, you might go to IVF, you might go to ICSI. All of these I'll talk about a little bit more later, but you might go to all these steps. You then might have a failed cycle, which then leads you to counselling. And in my experience, every woman I've treated, they are very good for the emotional mental health. There's never any nutritional lifestyle counselling at all. There's none. You're just expected to know what to do, or go onto this internet and find this masses of information that makes you want to blow your mind. I'm not actually going to talk about egg and sperm donation, but they are the next steps, and for fostering, etc. There's so much information to cover today that I'm not going to be able to cover all of it, but I want to give you an overview of the world you'll be dealing with. So support is required at all stages. If we meet someone, you know, in between GP and fertility, great. Xeno products, you know, if you're going to give them, you know, the health protocol, amazing. If that's all they did that changed, but if you could get them to change a bit of their nutrition as well, that'd be fab. Even after failed cycles, the stress their poor bodies are under, the drugs, etc. Not just medical stress, they've got the emotional stress, and they've got societal stress. So all of it coming down on them. So let's kind of hold them a bit and say, look, this will make you better. I'm not saying it'll make you have a baby, but it will make you better. And then you can cope better with each stage as well. Next one, please. So GP and fertility clinics. Nutrition is in general excluded, unfortunately. I don't really know of any GPs that talk through nutrition. And if Adam's on here, I apologise if you do, or any other GPs are on here. It's generally a medication-based help. There are GPs around that might say, try hypnotherapy or stuff. I don't know. You generally get blood tests, scans, and then more invasive tests. And I apologise to any men on this call right now, but if any woman on here has had an internal scan, they are really not very pleasant. And if you don't get a nice scanner, you know, you've got this constant invasiveness. NHS versus private, you know, NHS have limited resources, but what a wonderful resource we've got. Private, you know, amazing, and you're going to get a bit more care, hopefully, but still, they're not, the nutrition's not really there. Acupuncture, luckily, is more widely respected and accepted now. However, this is only recent. It's recently been, they'll have an acupuncturist who's near to the hospital, but they have got them in them, like the women's has got one, and different ones around do have acupuncturists around, but it can be quite a small space and a bit clinical. So, you know, getting the support out of it can give women a little bit more holistic care. I've put the Zita West Clinic on there, and I will go back to her because she's my frame of reference. Doesn't mean there aren't others like it, but I will mention her because that's what I know. So couples, and I have put in brackets mainly women, and I'm again really sorry men, but in my experience, it's mainly the women pushing this. And each stage, they have anything from zero knowledge to scientist research level. So you might find a woman that comes to you and you've imparted 2 hours of information which they've just never heard of. And then also you'll be having a conversation with somebody who knows the ins and outs of ICSI, who knows all about the Emma test, who knows all about all the different tests and sperm DNA fragmentation. So you are going to have quite a wide range. What I would always say to you is learn from them, ask them, go away, look it up. Don't ever bluff these women because they know stuff and they know exactly what's going on. So please don't bluff them. And there are men, don't get me wrong, there are men that do this, but as I said, it's mainly women pushing this. I don't think the men are as included. I don't think the clinics include them as well. Right, next one, please. So why is this letting people down? As you can see on there, the uterus that's got inflammation in it. So you want a nice, gorgeous uterus, like the normal uterus. You know, you want that nice endometrial lining, you want the space. You don't want it all inflamed like that. So why do we hope for the best? Why do we not hope for the best egg and not think about the quality of the egg? So what we're doing is we think, oh, let's have sex and let's have this baby. But what we forget is we want a good quality egg. We want a good quality sperm. We want the best environment for this little miracle to grow in. But we don't ever think that. I don't think I've ever met anyone, myself included, who thought, I want a baby. Oh, I better make my egg good. Better make my sperm good. This is where we should be helping. We should be saying, do you know, if you're going to have a baby, get your body right. That's what you should do first. Increasingly, I'm seeing more fertility pointing towards reducing inflammation in the body. I'm seeing that more. I am. There's all sorts of reasons for fertility issues, and that comes up later, but I'm seeing it more, especially in the last 6 months. And persistent ongoing inflammation in the body leads to conditions that adversely affect fertility, not just in the uterus. If you've got an inflammatory system, if you can imagine fight or flight, if you're in the wild, and we have got an old-fashioned system, our body, and a bear's chasing you, your body's not going to think, oh, I know what I could do right now. I could just fall pregnant. I'll just let that egg settle. That'd be lovely. It's not going to do it. If your body's constantly inflamed and a bit stressed, why would your body feel it's safe to grow a baby? So that's, again, something we need to look at. And there is so much information out there on the internet and social media. And I know women are so confused. Me too. I don't know if anyone's tries to look for something and you just think, can you tell me? So my advice would be key bits of information. Don't be an expert. Don't know everything. I mean, I don't know everything. I know a lot, and I know a lot about acupuncture. And I consider myself quite an expert after 20 odd years in acupuncture. But I'm still learning this. The reason I'm part of the Z2S network is once a year, we have this update day. And through the year, we get information to help us keep up with the medical side. I know how to do acupuncture. I know what points. I know how to help an endometrium. I know how to get blood flow to the uterine artery. I know these things, but I don't always know how quickly the Western medical world is changing. 1 minute DHEA is good, 1 minute DHEA isn't good. You know, 1 minute you should have embryo glue, 1 minute you shouldn't have embryo glue. So I have to keep up with this. So you keep up with it, but no nuggets of information and people to send people to. That would be my advice. You know someone, a specialist around, or somebody's got a bit more knowledge. Next slide, please. Aha, the balance test. So I truly believe this is going to be life-changing in my clinic, to be honest. I think it's going to really help me identify where a woman is in their nutrition levels, because God willing, we all know if you say to someone, are you eating a good diet? They'll go, yep, You don't know if they're eating a good diet. You have no idea. You don't really. He's like, oh, are you eating this? Yes, always eat all those vegetables, without a doubt. 20 glasses of water? Absolutely. So this is a problem. But with this, I can actually go, I think not. There's an issue here, and I think we need to deal with this. So for me, this is going to be hopefully life-changing and changing for my women, because I want every woman with me to get pregnant. I really do, or help them become a mum in whatever level they want to be, whether they do end up adopting or egg donation. So Zinzino products can help support all stages of fertility in men and women. So men, you can really help your sperm. And it would be great if this was one of the first steps. So if you could get people in and go, well, come on, let's do this first. Don't go to the GP yet, do this first. I'm not suggesting don't go to the GP or the Western medicine. That was just kind of me getting a bit excited. Please go to the GP if you need to. I have always, for the last 20 years, advised a multivitamin, a mineral supplement, an essential fatty acid, and gut health supplement. I have always advised those three. Here is a health protocol, which personally, I think, for £69 a month, once you've got the initial cost and the balance out of the way, it's an absolute bargain, really, when I compare it to my old tests, my old nutrition that I used to use. So you've got everything you could possibly need in there. No, it's not marketed specifically for pregnancy, but you just have to look at the ingredients at the back and the ingredients of the specific fertility ones. It's not a lot different. Just because it hasn't got this is specifically for fertility, this is a good product. And with this product, I mean, you could just, I suppose, eat rubbish food and have this, but I wouldn't advise it. I would say you need a plant-rich diet. And with a plant-rich diet, and that doesn't mean vegan, that means adding in your good meat. Meat that is fingers crossed, organic or at least grass-fed, the best you can get. So always, always eat quality. And if you're going to eat something naughty, this is an acupuncture thing, as soon as you decide to eat it, accept it. Love it. Love every second of that cheesecake, because your body releases hormones. And if you eat it in a lovely way, your body will go, oh, okay, I'll digest this. But if the minute you do that, you're guilt and anger, because, oh, I shouldn't be eating this, your body's going to react like that, and it's going to have a bit of a stress relax. So if you're going to eat something, enjoy it. Enjoy your food, enjoy your nutrition. Connections and referrals at the bottom is what I was talking about. This is, this Zinzino's a referral, really. You've got other things out there. You've got nutritionists, hypnotherapy, life coaches. Sorry if I haven't mentioned someone, but there's so many people out there for us to reach out to and have a little bit of a network. But I truly believe this is a good product as a base to get people in health to start trying for a baby, not to do it once they've been trying for a baby. I don't know when this world will change, and we'll get there. Next slide, please. Right, these are some of the female fertility issues. Polycystic ovary syndrome and polycystic ovaries, all to do with insulin, all to do with imbalance in the omega-3 as well. Endometriosis, adenomyosis, I hate that one, really hate that one. Why does the Western medicine make up such long bloody words? Right, these are both absolute inflammatory conditions. Pelvic inflammatory disease. None of these are great places for an embryo to settle. Fibroids, polyps, cysts. In Chinese medicine, we believe by balancing the body, we can actually get rid of these. I also believe with good nutrition, you can get rid of these, get the body more fluid, get it working properly. Blocked tubes, that's a tricky one. IVF's almost perfect for blocked tubes because blocked tubes are a plumbing issue and you bypass the plumbing issue. However, can they clear? We don't know enough about the body. I believe everything can clear if you look after yourself. Excess weight is an issue, which I'll talk about later. Autoimmune conditions and allergies are an issue. Miscarriage, recurrent miscarriage. Miscarriage is always believed to be the woman's, not fault, but an issue to do with the woman, whereas they are showing now that 50% of miscarriages are male factor. There is something wrong with the sperm and the embryo just hasn't worked and it comes away. Every miscarriage is painful, be it 5 weeks or the really late ones, which are desperately painful. But every miscarriage is painful because anyone that knows women knows as soon as something happens, the woman goes on a first date, they are literally over the starter thinking about their wedding and what they would wear, how they would look. We plan ahead from the second something happens. So it's desperately sad. So anyone who's coming to you with miscarriages, be very gentle, even if they say, oh, I'm absolutely fine. I mean, that's almost a red flag. I'm absolutely fine, because nobody's absolutely fine after that. They've dealt with it, but they're not absolutely fine. Stress. Stress, as I said before, fight or flight, bear chasing you. That's not a place for a baby to be built. Next slide. We have decreased our consumption of essential fatty acids by up to 80% and increased our consumption of damaged fats by over 1,200% in one generation. That's appalling. That's all I'm going to say. That's appalling. I personally can't eat enough fish. I love this balance oil. For me, it's a no-brainer. I was on the essential fatty acids from a nutritionist, and they were a good one because my first result showed it. I was 5.8 to 1 on my first result. But shouldn't I have been 3 to 1? This is what I'm hoping from the Zinzino. Next slide. Okay, your fats, your omega-3 and 6. These are little sentences that I was hoping would help everybody, that you don't have to get super scientific in them. You could just say this to somebody, and if they want more information, then we direct them to more information and science. But I don't know many people that want a lot more information than knowing that healthy fats are essential for hormone balance, production, and the maintenance of correct hormone function. Omega-3 fatty acids counteract the inflammatory effects of omega-6. Omega-6 drives inflammation and needs to be balanced by omega-3. Omega-3 fatty acids are anti-inflammatory and modulate hormone sensitivity that is critical for follicular release and egg quality. Follicular release is basically the egg's in a follicle, the follicle does that, and the omega-3s are really, really important in this. And egg quality, you want quality. The linoleic acid, I can never say that either, and alpha linoleic acid are essential to every living cell in the body. In ovulation, they are key for the follicular rupture. the thing I was talking about, and then the collapse and the release of the egg, allowing the development of the corpus luteum responsible for progesterone. Again, we don't have to get bogged down with the science. If you want that, we can kind of get science people in. Omega-6 is not in essence bad, as we need it, but it does need to be balanced with omega-3. Next one. I say, okay, omega-3 fatty acids are specifically EPA and DHA. They are vital for cell membrane health. So this, basically around your cells, you've got this membrane. They lower inflammation and promote good prostaglandins. Omega-3 fatty acids also improve insulin sensitivity, which is where, and help in balance blood sugar levels, which is where the polycystic ovary syndrome. Omega-3 fatty acids play a role in egg quality, ovulation, and implantation. It is believed that omega-3 plays an important role in fertility by delaying ovarian aging and improving egg quality. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Get your omega-3, don't you? Next, please. This is a research from Rebecca Fett's book. I don't know if you can see that. It starts with an egg. It's a very, very, very good book and very detailed, but this is researchers in Iran measured the levels of individual fatty acids in the follicular fluid of women undergoing IVF. The researchers found a few general trends that further supported the concept of the Mediterranean diet improving fertility. And we know the Mediterranean diet, fish and olive oil. Specifically, they found that women who became pregnant after IVF had a higher overall level of omega-3 fatty acids in their ovaries and a higher proportion of omega-3 to 6. As we would expect, not all omega-6 fatty acids were bad news for fertility in the Iranian study, but the bad omega-3 fatty acid, arachidonic acid, was linked to decreased fertility, specifically in women with higher arachidonic acid levels. Their eggs were less likely to fertilize. Also, women who became pregnant had slightly lower arachidonic acid levels than women who did not. That's all in her book, and she's got quite a bit on that if you wanted to read it. So my belief is replacing animal protein with vegetable protein in some meals, because you get that omega-6 from meat, specifically turkey, apparently. Replacing animal protein with vegetable protein in some meals over the course of a week should make a difference to these levels. Taking Zinzino we know makes a difference with the omega-3. Next, please. I am rushing through this. I hope I'm going to get it done in time. Hormones. Progesterone helps regulate your cycle, but its main job is to get your uterus ready for pregnancy. After you ovulate each month, progesterone helps thicken the lining of your womb to prepare for the fertilized egg. If there is no fertilized egg, then the lining starts to come away. Menstruation, periods. Estrogen is one of the main hormones driving the menstrual cycle. Low estrogen levels can prevent ovulation and make falling pregnant difficult. I'm going to just whiz through these. You can whiz back and read them properly. Stress increases cortisol, which decreases active progesterone. Cortisol increases the production of estrogen, so prolonged stress can lead to estrogen dominance. Then the liver gets involved and can be overwhelmed and unable to deal with the excess estrogen. You've got to remember, well, in our medicine, we learn about the whole body and how it works. Western medicine's a bit more, there's your leg, there's this, there's that. So once you have a ripple effect with one hormone, it's going to mess with everything else. Everything needs to be in balance. So when one thing's gone, another thing's gone. So we need to keep an eye on all of them. With a good EFA profile and the good nutrition profile, we can effectively create tissue hormones called prostaglandins. These are anti-inflammatory and essential in the regulation of reproductive system and blood flow. We need good blood flow from the uterine artery to the uterus. Next slide, please. Body weight or not. Was it? There was a body weight one. Was this one before body weight? What was the previous one? Yeah. Maintaining a healthy weight, regular movement, exercise, and regular bowel movements. Regular bowel movements, really important, which is why I like the biotic. Or kefir, or sauerkraut, or wherever you want to go with this. They're essential for fertility, as being overweight can mean a higher hormone exposure and higher levels of inflammation. Our fat cells are not just globules of lipid, they're mini hormone factories. They make estrogen and testosterone. So the more fat you have, the more hormones are going to be bibbling around your body. Good gut health supports progesterone and estrogen levels. Disruption of gut microbes can bring on hormone havoc. So back again to hormones. Being constipated is another issue that leads to overexposure to estrogen. The body discards of excess hormones through our stools. So basically, you want a regular bowel movement at least once a day, if possible. When we get constipated, the waste products seep back into our bodies through the intestinal wall and get reabsorbed. This is why we need good gut health. There's many reasons, to be fair, that's not the only reason, but that's one of the reasons we need good gut health. We need to be pooing out. We need to send each other poo emojis every day. We love pooed, high five poos. Poo is good, we must talk more poo. I've finished with poo now. Next one, please. Cell membrane fluidity. Gametes are an organism's reproductive cells. The female gametes are egg cells, the male gametes are sperm. Eggs and sperm are cells. The reason I'm saying that is because when we're talking about essential fatty acids, they help the cell membrane fluidity. So if eggs and sperm are cells, they need good EFAs. Cell membrane composition and its structural architecture are crucial for the health of the cells. We need sound cellular structure and fluidity to allow nutrients and waste in and waste products out. We need EFAs for this. We need healthy, fully functional, receptive and responsive membranes. Next, please. Male fertility issues. Sorry, men, it took so long. Right. Against standard perception, 40 to 50% of fertility issues are male factor. And this is becoming more and more well known about the male factor. Sperm count in Western countries has dropped by 59% in the last 40 years, leading straight to ICSI. ICSI is where they pick a sperm and put it in the egg. Otherwise, they've got the egg and they let the sperm find their own way. They kind of pick the sperm that they think is going to be good because there's not great sperm. But you don't really want to be going to ICSI. Not if they haven't looked at the male properly, not if they haven't, or not if the man hasn't had a chance to sort his own body out. I mean, let's do that first. It just seems to not make sense, especially as men make their sperm every 3 months. There is a tendency to focus on female fertility issues, there really is, and overlook male factors. And you know, overlook men in general. It's kind of, it can be very woman focused at times. The health of a man's sperm is very important. There is a higher omega-6-3 ratio in men having fertility issues. When they're looking at sperm, they're looking at morphology, motility, the count, the volume. They don't really look at testosterone, and our testosterone, you know, men's testosterone is waning a little bit, unless you're Mick Jagger. His is fine. Back to age, his is fine. You also get varicole, which is abnormal dilation of the testicular veins, and the seminal tubes can be blocked. So men, you can do so much. I'm going to come on to that in a second. Sperm DNA fragmentation, abnormal genetic material in the sperm. This should be below 25%. This can lead to subfertility, IVF failure, and miscarriage. It is really important men hear that. Your sperm can do those 3 things. Could you change it, please? So improve your sperm. Men produce sperm continually, not like us women, born with our eggs. Yes, we can do the quality. Can't make any more though. That's it, done. You can do it. It takes about 3 months, apparently 2.5 months to make sperm. Sperm don't like heat, so be careful. Don't, you know, keep those little testes cool. Diet and lifestyle changes offer the best way for men to optimize their fertility. You need antioxidants, you need weight loss, you need exercise, you need frequent ejaculation. Omega-3 improves sperm quality, motility, and count. Semen is rich in prostaglandins produced from omega-3. Now, sperm DNA fragmentation test. You can have one of these, and they are very useful if you like tests. So what I say to people coming to me is, go get your test. If there's a problem with the sperm, go get your DNA fragmentation. But what you will be told to do, and I would advise either a fertility nutritionist or, you know, definitely these products, but really sorting your nutrition out, because you'll be told to do that, and then you'll have your next test. I'm like, well, don't wait for the test. Change your blooming lifestyle. You want a baby, change your lifestyle. That's it, end of. Because as soon as that woman's pregnant, you're allowed to drink again, if that's what you want to do. But if you want a baby and there's an issue with your sperm, you can change it, absolutely, without a doubt. Women's bits are a bit harder to deal with. Yours is not. Next one, please. Oh God, it's 10, no, it's not 10, it's quarter to. Mental blockers, right. So a lot of us end up feeling like we've got lack of control and power. We need to give people back the power. We need to say to people, you can do this, eat this, take this, do this. You have power, you can do this. I get really upset when women just feel like they can't do anything. So you can do so much. I do have people when I say, really, you need to stop the processed food. You need to cut out cake and chocolate. And I've had people say, but I like cake. It doesn't matter if you like it. Make a healthy version. There's loads of healthy versions. There's loads of nutrition. It's not about liking it. It's like, what's the best nutrition for your body? You don't put diesel in a petrol car. Get that good food in. Give up the cake and chocolate for a bit, or find the best quality chocolate or the best quality cake. Have little bits. Comparison. Death of joy comparison. Everyone compares everyone to each other. So yes, I know you're going to look at the woman who's drinking lots and has got 40 children and, you know, is really not a picture of health. Don't compare yourself. It's a completely different. You don't know what else has gone on in her world. She might have zero stress because she doesn't stress. Just concentrate on yourself. Keep your power in. Do not let comparison be the death of joy. Alcohol, if you're going to have it, good quality. So if you're going to if you fancy a glass of wine, have a good quality bottle of red. But personally, you really should limit that. Change your lifestyle choices. Affordability. This is the other one. People are like, I can't afford this. I can't afford that. Well, do you know what? Babies are really expensive. So you can afford it. You can afford it. You can find a way. There is always a way. Get your head on it and find a way. Whether it's like Jason Vale used to do years ago when he was absolutely on the bones. He used to go to a market stall and get the end of the day fruit and veg. There is a way. And not everything has to be super expensive. Next one, please. So I'm going to read this out because I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but I think this might help you in the way that we need to relate to these women. So this is from a patient. Being told you have unexplained infertility is like being spun around 1,000 times and then told to find your way home. You were at a crossroads in the pitch black, no lights, no direction, no one to ask, apart from speaking to a stranger about coming to terms with it. And when they don't have the answers, you want the answers too. That was where I started my IVF journey. After IVF cycle 1, I was left feeling like jelly. There was no strength until I found acupuncture. Acupuncture has changed my life in so many ways. It answered questions my body had for 26 years, but I didn't even know. When I walked into my first acupuncture consultation and treatment, I was in a dark place. 2 hours later, I walked out into the light with no weight on my shoulders, a plan and a mentor to help me go into battle. If there is one thing I would recommend to anyone embarking in fertility treatment, it's to invest in holistic care. Find someone who treats you like a human, treats your symptoms, treats your mind, heart and soul. They want to heal you and cure you. So the reason I said that was I wanted to impress upon us holistic care. Holistic care also means food, it means supplements, it means all of that. Next one, please. Here's another one. For anyone about to start IVF or assisted fertility journey, please stop for one day and look up holistic care. I never had acupuncture for fertility. I'd never heard of. I'm not using infertility anymore, as I only use positive words now. So for the cycle 1, I was on my own with no support. I had no idea about blood supply to the uterus helping. I had no idea that cold feet are not good for fertility. They're not, by the way. Wear socks. And cold food is not good for fertility, especially in the winter. It's not so bad in the summer, in the winter, no. That's acupuncture world though, so I won't keep going on about that. I was lucky that I had been told to follow Zita West on Instagram, and when I read about her affiliated acupuncturists, I was lucky that I lived 3 miles away from one. I learned so much in my first acupuncture session with me, who is literally one of my most favourite people in the entire world. Thank you. I learned about damp. I was taught about what normal period is. I never knew periods I had suffered from the age of 14 were abnormal and my body's way of telling me something wasn't right. I was heard and listened to. I was able to express my devastation of the news I had received. The feelings of shame and failure were met with compassion. The treatment I received is unreal. The feelings during and after are amazing. I didn't mean it to go on quite so much about me. I mean, that's lovely. But what I want to get across here is we can make a difference. We can, you can make a difference just by guiding, like a cat does that. Just by guiding someone in the right direction. And it comes from them, and then they get their power back and they feel good about their life. I'm doing something. I'm making changes that will help this, because bottom line, anything they do is going to help their health for the rest of their life, not just right there and then. Next one, please. last one. For me, holistic care is the most important treatment to build alongside your fertility journey. My clinic never advised or told me about holistic care. So I feel very passionate about spreading the word to help anyone who feels they're a bit lost. And that was what I was talking about. They're not getting the advice. I mean, I don't care what you go for. You might want hypnotherapy. You might want reflexology. You might think about acupuncture and go, no, not needles. Whatever you do, just get that help alongside. You pick one, but the one you haven't got a lot of choices, you have to pick nutrition. You have to feed your body. You are in charge of that. Have I got another slide after that? Oh yeah, holistic care is the care of the whole person. This is not a specific remedy or therapy. This is about looking at the whole person in front of you. I don't know if I've got another one after that. Oh, Kate, that's Beth. She hates it when I use that photo. I've woken her up. Anyway, key messages, if you can tell people this. Eggs and sperm are simply cells. Cells need to be nourished and have good cell membrane fluidity. It takes two. Please don't leave it all to her. And being a healthier dad leads to lead by example. Yes, you can improve sperm. The sperm is made every 3 months and therefore can be altered. A man can make a huge difference and impact a sperm quality by focusing on nutrition and lifestyle. Come on, men. The uterus needs to be a 6-star hotel and not a highway motel. It needs good blood flow from the uterine artery to be free of inflammation and needs to be a healthy environment. Excuse me, what's that? Well, doing that super speedy. A top quality egg, a top quality sperm, and a top quality environment. Let's go for that. And then get a baby. Zinzino products can support all of the above alongside a healthy diet and lifestyle, of course. Now, back to, this is what I'd love to say to women. Give me a year to help you prepare. You plan for a wedding, why not a baby? You spend thousands getting ready for that. One wedding day, why not a baby? Why isn't it in our society? Why isn't it in our psyche? It's not. I never did. I never thought, do you know, I want a baby. I better get my body in health. Never did. But imagine if it was out there that people heard, hold on, I'm going to want a baby. What needs to be happening internally to put me in the best place and my husband to have this baby? Why is that not there? And that is where I think we can help. I absolutely believe if we can get that message out, prepare yourself. And financially, people are saying, come to me and they've got 3 weeks before their first IVF. And I go, you need to do this. And they're like, but I haven't got this money. And that's when I have to say to people, if only we had a year, you could go for acupuncture and then you could gap that. You could do nutrition, then you could gap that. You could spread that finance over a year. So it isn't that expensive unless you're trying to squeeze it into 3 weeks, and then it is a little bit expensive. But still, this is your body for the rest of the life, not just for the baby. I think that's it on then. Yeah. Oh, I will say one thing, coenzyme Q10 is also a really good supplement for egg quality.
Thanks so much, Jackie. That was amazing and really informative. So thanks everyone for joining. It's been brilliant to see so many people on the call this evening. If you like what you hear, you want to know more information about what Jackie's touched upon tonight, please contact whoever invited you onto this call and they will give you all the information you need. So we wish you all the best of luck with your fertility journey and hope to see you all soon. Take care.